So we have here an example which is also found in your book to clearly demonstrate what are the terms that are related to discounting. So we will use the illustration there, the first illustration, the discounting without recourse. Okay, so the common terms that we need to know about the discounting, so daghan kaayo ni siya, but the main items that are considered in the uh, computation part of discounting would be kaning tulo, maturity value, discount, and then net proceeds. And there are also terms terms involved in order to compute the maturity value, in order to compute the discount, and to compute the net proceeds. So it's better if there's a demonstration, so we will know how to apply the terms and what they mean. Mas ma clarify siya. Okay, first is to compute the maturity value. And what is maturity value? That's principal plus interest. So what is the principal here? Um, that is the amount appearing on the face of the note. So for this one, we have a 1,180 day 12% note dated July 1 was received from a customer and discounted without recourse on August 30 at 15% discount rate. So in this case, our principal here is the 1 million. And what is our interest? So we can compute for that. That's principal times rate times time. And this is the amount of interest for the full term of the note. So for the entire duration nga nag-exist ang note. And this is a 180-day note. So the interest for 180 days. So if we're going to convert this one into months, how many months man ni siya? So kung 30 days per month atong gamiton, so that would be 6 months. Okay? So this is the composition of our maturity value. And maturity value, that's the amount due on the note at the date of maturity. So if naghulat si payee nga mobayad si maker, ang iyahang madawat all in all is equivalent to the maturity value after 180 days. Okay, so after 180 days sa paghuwat, ang madawat niya is ang principal nga 1 million plus ang interest nga good for 180 days. So how do we compute for the first requirement, the maturity value? So that's principal, which is 1 million, plus the interest. And the interest would be 1 million times the rate, which is 12%, times the time. And the time here is 180 over 360. But it depends on the problem. Again, if it specifies 365, then we will use 365. If it says 360, so it's 360. So for simplification, ano yun niya, most illustration they use 360 in the assumption that every month has 30 days. Okay, 30 days times 12, that would be 360 days. 30 days per month times 12, that would be 360 days a year. Okay. So remember, if the given in the problem is in terms of of days, for example, this one is 180 days or pag 90 day, 60 days, so dapat po ang aton denominator here would be in terms of days. Okay? So ayun na siya i-convert into months, but just follow the time specified nga kung days siya, so dapat days po datong denominator. So the total interest for the 6 months or 180 days would be, okay, so let's check 1 million times 12% times 180 divided by 360, that's 60,000. So the total maturity value would be 1,060,000. So again, kung naghulat si payee nga mobayad si customer after 180 days, ang iyahang madawat kay 1,060,000 tanan. Next is we will compute the discount on notes receivable. So I just pasted here our answer. previously because this will be needed in the computation of the discount. And what is a discount? That's the amount of interest deducted by the bank in advance. And this was mentioned already in the previous natong nga lesson, di ba? Pag discounted ang note, so meaning na ay advanced interest. And how do we compute that one? That's equivalent to maturity value, which is already solved in the previous nga item or number, times this is the discount rate, DR. That's the rate used by the bank in computing the discount. If no discount rate is given, we can simply use the given interest rate. So for example, this one is not given. Ang 15% kay wala. Gamito na to, ang sakto, wala ang 15%, gamito na to ning 12% as the discount rate. Kung walay discount rate given. So, maturity value times discount rate times DP. So, this is our discount period, which is the unexpired term. Okay? And how do we compute the unexpired term? That's the period of time from the date of discounting until the maturity date. So, if this is dated July 1, so it's supposed to be kung 180 days later or 6 months later, dapat unta July, August, September, October, November, December 31, unta siya kutob, di ba? So, December 31, unta na to siya collect ang ato ang note. But then, wala naman ta kahuwat, manggid naman ta og money. So, pila man ang mahabilin nga time. Okay, so again, from the time of the discounting. So, August 30 man siya, gipa-discount. So, pila naman kabuwan ang nilabay. So, para mas dali isolve, so the discount period would be equivalent to the term of the note, which is 180 days here, minus the expired portion. Okay, so how do we compute that? So, this is the formula again, maturity value times discount rate times discount period. And our discount period would be the term of the note, which is 180 days, minus the expired portion, which is 60 days. Why is it 60 days? So from July until August 30. So July, 30 days, and then August 30. So that's 120 days. Okay? So 180 minus 60 is 120 days. This is the unexpired portion or unexpired term. So therefore, 1,060,000, which is our maturity value computed here, times 15% discount rate times 120 divided by 360. So the answer would be 53,000. So this is the discount. Okay, so this would be the interest that will be deducted by the bank in advance. Next is we will compute how much are we going to receive from the bank. Di ba pag endorse nato siya sa bangko, releasan ta og kwarta sa bank. So these are our previous computation. We have the maturity value and the discount. And what is the net proceeds is equivalent to the maturity value minus the discount. So the net proceeds here would be 1,060,000 minus 53,000. That would be 1,007,000. Okay? So therefore, ang ato ang madawat pag nag-endorse sa bangko sa note, ang ma-receive nato is 1,007,000. So instead of 1,060,000, kanilang ato ang ma-receive, makuhaan. Of course, 'di ba? Justifiable man pud siya kay dili man pud aside from dili sure nga ma-collect yun na siya in full by the bank, of course dapat pud na po income ang bank for allowing you to have advance money, di ba? For releasing yung money nga unta, naghulat pa ka og 6 months or 180 days after, pero gi-accommodate ni bank para lang matagaan ka or releasean ka og money. Kung naghulat pa ka after 180 days, you would have received total of 1,060,000. But since we are in need of money, so pwede nga mudawat daw sa discounted ng value sa note. Next is, how are we going to prepare the journal entry for this one? So first is we need to get the carrying amount of the note. So the carrying amount of the note would be equivalent to the principal plus the interest. Unsa man ni nga klase nga interest, ma'am? How much would be the carrying amount of the note? So this is the interest good for 2 months or 60 days. So you have July 1 to August 30. So that would be 1 million times 12% times 60 over 360. So in short, this is the expired term, di ba? Kaning 60 days. So the carrying amount of the note is 1,020,000. And to determine the gain or loss on discounting, so we are going to deduct from the net proceeds the carrying amount of the note. Okay, so the amount that we receive is 1,007,000 and the carrying amount of the note is 1,020,000. So there's a loss on discounting in the amount of 13,000. So alcance ta by 13,000. So the journal entry would be cash, which is the proceeds, 1,007,000. We close the note receivable nga 1 million. We credit the interest income of 20,000 and the balancing figure is the loss on note receivable discounting. Again, this is without recourse. So totally ato nang gisurrender ang note receivable to the uh, endorsee or sa financial institution. Another example, we have illustration to what if it is discounting with recourse. So again, if with recourse na siya, naatay responsibility in case dili mo bayad ang maker. So to compute the net proceeds, we have here the principal, 2,400,000. Then we have the interest. So that's 2,400,000 times 12% times 6 over 12. Remember, this is the entire duration of the note so that we can get the maturity value. Since we're now talking about months here, so our denominator here would also be in terms of months. So 2.4 million times 12% times 6 over 12. So we will use this amount in order to get our discount. So 2,544,000 times 15% times 5 over 12. Ano 5 over 12? Remember, sa discount, we're going to use the unexpired portion. Since it's dated at February 1 and the discounting happened on March 1, so naiusa ka buwan. So 6 months minus 1 month na lapse or the expired portion. So we have 5 months. 5 over 12. So 2,544,000 minus 159,000. So the net proceeds would be 2,385,000. And then the carrying amount of the notes receivable would be equivalent to the principal and the interest in the time nga na-expired na or katong nilapse na, di ba? We have 1 month. So 2,400,000 times 12% times 1 over 12. So the carrying amount is 2,424,000. And the loss on discounting would be equivalent to the difference between the net proceeds, this one, and the carrying amount. So the loss is 39,000. So loss ni siya kay mas gamay man tag nadawat kumpara sa carrying amount sa note receivable. Kay kung nagpaabot pa ta, 'di ba? Kung regularly pa ta naka-receive og interest ani, so in the first month naka-receive ta og 24 24,000. But since gi-forgo na to na siya, kay need man na tong money, so ato na receive lang is 2,385,000. So, alkanse by 39,000. If it is with recourse, the transaction would be accounted for either as conditional sale or secured borrowing. So continuing the illustration, first, if it is a conditional sale, so I just copied here the computation for reference. So kung conditional sale na siya, this would be the entries. So on March 1, when the note is discounted, we will debit cash. Then loss on discounting, this is already computed. Then you have note receivable discounted credit. And then interest income katong 24. Since this is a sale, so naatay gain or loss. So man siya nga loss on note receivable discounting. On August 1, the date of maturity, okay, so that's 6 months after February, March, April, May, June, July, July 31. Okay, so August 1, ang 6th, ika-6 yun. So you have debit note receivable discounted and credit note receivable. So i-remove na nato si note receivable discounted and as well as the note receivable. Assume that the note is dishonored by the maker. What do we mean by dishonored? Di ba, pag i-dishonor na sa maker, wala siya motunong sa bayad. So, wa mo bayad si maker on August 1. So, since this is with recourse, remember, di ba, pag with recourse, naatay obligation in case the maker was not able to pay the endorsee or the bank. So, naatay tulubagon. Tulubagon kay kita may nag-endorse adtong note nga wala na daily bayad ang maker. So, kita may manubag dito sa bank. So, the entity here pays First Bank the maturity value of the note. So, bayaran niya itong tibuok amount sa note unta kung na-receive pa to, plus the protest fee and other charges of 6,000. Okay? So, to record the payment to First Bank, so that would be debit to accounts receivable, and then we credit cash. Okay? So, nga naman nga 2,550,000 gani na siya. So, the maturity value of the note, this is 2,544,000. So, this is already computed, diba, earlier, plus 6,000. So, 2,550,000. So, ang buhaton na to is mag-debit tag accounts receivable. Kaya diba, pag ma-dishonor ang note, mahimo na siyang ordinary accounts receivable. And then since mobayad na sa bangko, kay na default man ang ato ang maker, so kita'y makabayad sa bangko. So i-credit nato ang cash. So this after this entry, it means nga kita nay maningil sa maker. Okay? Dili na mobayad si maker adto sa bank. Kita na ang maningil sa maker kay kita may nakabayad sa bangko. Then, to cancel the contingent liability, so just use this same entry, note receivable discounted and credit note receivable. So that is what will happen if mag-dishonor si maker. Okay, and the note is discounted with recourse as a conditional sale. The second way on how we are going to account for the discounting of the note with recourse is through secured borrowing. But actually, parehas ra sila og mga amounts, parehas ra gyud. Ang kalahian lang is naay difference in the account title that we're going to use. Okay, so they highlighted here, okay, in the next one for secured borrowing. So we have on March 1, you have debit cash, but this time, instead of loss, so loss on note receivable discounting, ang gamit kay interest expense. Anong interest man ang gamiton, ma'am? Since this is a borrowing, so this would be an interest. Diba, ang pare sa pagpangutang, diba, pag mangutang ta na atay interest nga bayaran. Kung magbaligya ta na ay gain or loss. That's why katong previously, sa conditional sale, ang debit niya kay loss. Diba? Kaya kung mamaligya ta, pwede man tang maalkanse. Pag secured borrowing siya, so remember kay utang man, so na ay interest. So interest expense ang gamiton instead of loss. Okay? So this would be the amount that we're going to use. So instead of loss, again, interest expense ang account title. And then, instead of crediting note receivable discounted, ang i-credit nato kay liability for note receivable discounted. So, butangan siya o liability for. So, maura na siya ang iyahang kalahian. And then, nagyapoy interest income. Then, again, there's no gain or loss on discounting. On August 1, the note is paid. So, again, since kani atong gi-credit, so ang debit sa nato is liability for note receivable discounted. Diba sa conditional sale, kay kanira may makita note receivable discounted. Pero kung secured borrowing, na liability for. Then credit, note receivable. Then assume again, it is dishonored by the maker. So the same accounts receivable and then credit, cash, and then to cancel the contingent liability. So liability for note receivable discounted and note receivable. So kung itandi nato na silang duha, ang kalahian ra gyud kay kaning account title. So again, instead of loss on note receivable discounting, so we will credit liability for note receivable discounted. If you like this video, don't forget to click like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell to be updated with the latest video lessons. Thank you for watching.